Greetings, crafty friends. It's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and I'm here on behalf of Pear Blossom Press with their light sets. And this is part of a Craft Collabs YouTube hop. So here's my card that I ended up creating, and I love playing with galaxy backgrounds, and I thought the lighted up stars would be just perfect in there. So I started on a watercolor paper block, and that's why it's not taped down. I found that just kind of really held the water and let me put lots of water and lots of layers on there. So as you can see, I'm kind of working in 4 areas, thinking that I'll like one of the areas better than the others, and that's what I'll end up using for my background. So again, I'm throwing on some dark blues and some purples and some turquoise. Here I am coming back in with the dark blue, and you can see I'm working with a pretty wide paintbrush. It's probably about 1 inch wide, and that really helps me get a lot of pigment onto the watercolor paper. So I'm just kind of going around those 4 areas there, and then you can see I'm mopping up a little bit to create some lighter areas. And then in the end, I'm going to come in with a real dark blue black type of color, and I am using the Gonzai Tombi watercolors. And so I decided to add the world, and so this is a Tim Holtz die from Sizzix. So I cut it out 3 times and ended up gluing all 3 together. I love adding that kind of texture and dimension onto my special cards, which I would consider this a special card. I also added a heart in right over the state of Ohio, which is where I am from. So again, there's my final thing there, and I did cut the edge off. I didn't want to put the entire thing on the card front. And so I'm working here just to use Distress inks and color in that part of the world. I did first put grit paste on both the world piece and the moon was just cut with a circle die. So again, here I am getting out my distress crayons because I thought maybe that would give me a little bit of better, deeper, darker color. So kind of coloring in with the distress crayons, just a little bit of water. And again, the grit paste kind of really helps to add some texture to the world. So just kind of using that olive green and walnut stain color. So now I'm switching over to that moon. So again, the moon also has grit paste on it. So you can see here I started with the distress crayons. I'm not even messing with the distress ink. So started with the crayons. And then I decided, oh heck, I'm just going to go for the crayons and just color right on there because I really wanted that intense gray, shadowy type of looking piece. So there's my moon and there's my world. And so here is the easy lights. These are so easy to assemble and use. It's really amazing. Each one of those battery bases has 3 lights on it. So that's what I ended up using. And you can see you just insert the battery and press the button and you're off and running. So now I'm kind of figuring out where exactly I want to put my stars. So I'm cutting a few or punching a few holes there first with my pick, and then my I don't know what you call that other tool, but I use it quite often when I'm scoring cards, etc. So here I'm just going to tape the light bulbs inside the little holes. And so I worked to make sure that the light part of them was facing the front. And then I'm going to use my Scotch tape and kind of twirl the tape around the back of the card base. And you can see there, whoa, voila, there's my lights. So I'm going to go ahead and twirl that around, and the moon goes there, and the world goes there, and then I'm really all set. And I did end up cutting a real small circle and made a planet out of that, and I decided to use turquoise to kind of pick up that turquoise. So here I am kind of gluing that world on there, and you can see the little heart, there's my turquoise push me button. I decided to write on there, push here, and then I also added a couple of little lines, and then I ended up covering it with Tim Holtz embossing glaze, which I thought really turned out well. So again, here's kind of the moons on there, the worlds on there. I'm going to add the little tiny planet for the push button. The other thing I did was I wanted to use the sentiment, love you to the moon and back, and I didn't have it in the lengthwise format. So I went to my computer and just selected a couple of different fonts and printed that out on cardstock. And then I embossed glazed over it with the pistachio from Tim Holtz. So again, here I am just adding the foam tape to kind of pop up and make, you know, an accounting for that, that push button. Just kind of centering it. I did add a piece of turquoise paper there in the background. And there you can see my card lights up. So again, this is Terry with Terry's Mailbox. I'm on YouTube, Blogger, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Terry's Mailbox. I'd really love it if you would check those out and follow or subscribe. And here again is that card with the lights all lit up here. And thanks to Pear Blossom Press and Craft Collabs for this great YouTube hop.